You know, when I was LDS, we were very interested in church history. But what we understood church history to be is very different from what I've come to understand church history to mean since I've left Mormonism and embraced a biblical Christianity. So we want to share with you today a little bit about the idea of church history and how important and how enriching it can be for you to explore the history of the Christian faith. Now, I'm here with Mary Jane, and Mary Jane, when you were growing up LDS, what did you understand about church history and the larger picture of the history of Christianity?
I understood it seemed like there was Jesus and then Joseph and really nothing in between.
Yeah.
And but actually the story of Joseph Smith implies what happened in between,
Right.
because he was told that all the churches were an abomination, which meant that all that church history really wasn't of consequence, because
Right.
it was all bad.
Right. So this whole great apostasy, and yeah, not only was it like not important, but it was even, like you said, it was negative, it was bad.
Yeah.
And so I guess I don't remember learning anything about,
Yeah.
anything that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
I think before Joseph Smith.
Right.
So like,
Right.
except for, like you said, negative things like corrupt people, mistranslated the Bible or tampered with scripture,
Right.
things like that.
Right.
Negative
Negative.
examples of the very worst possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So that's so interesting. So what is the opposite of that is, if Mormonism has a limited understanding of Christian history, I think I'd like our viewers to understand that Christians really do have this rich, diverse history.
Yeah.
So explore that with me, because I know
Yeah.
you're interested as you've learned some things about this. What are
Yeah.
some of the things that you've learned
Yeah.
about what church history really is?
It's just so exciting to me, because it's like this whole blank that when I started to learn what was there, it's like dominoes, just boom, and all this rich history that there is in the church, that God was really moving all the time. And it started with taking a course at the university, where I learned about the Reformation and Martin Luther. And I had, of course, have heard of Martin Luther, probably mostly because of Martin Luther King. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. And then when I became a Christian and started looking at the history, I was just amazed at that it never stopped. It never stopped from the time of Jesus.
Right.
God was always moving.
God is always moving,
Yeah.
always working in different times, in different cultures,
Right.
in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. But it kind of puts the whole idea of the great apostasy to bed, right? I mean,
It does.
It's really
Yeah.
hard. Once you understand the history of God's working, it's hard to sustain that idea
Right.
that the gospel was removed from the
Yeah.
earth, and that
Yeah.
God wasn't at work in the earth anymore until
Right.
1830.
Right. It seems like a murky thing, this the Dark Ages. That's
Oh,
not
yeah.
even well defined in history. And and when there were Dark Ages, maybe in Europe, the rest of the world was thriving, and
Right,
and
that's
there was
great, that's
always something going on, and missions and church scholars and leaders and people writing books and going on missions and all kinds of things happening the whole time. And it's just amazing. It's fabulous
Yeah.
to me and exciting to
Yeah.
learn that.
Yeah.
To fill in all those blanks.
Yeah, exactly. To connect the dots
Yeah.
throughout history. Now, we're going to talk in another video about some more of the details, but for now, what would you recommend for people who want to fill in those blanks? What can they do?
Well, they can take the course Perspectives
Perspectives,
that's
right?
offered locally at different times.
Yeah, and all around the country.
And all
It's-
around the
yeah.
country. And you can take it online too if there isn't a live one going. It shows that perspective. Or just search out different Christian missionaries, and there's many biographies, and you can read about it, and they tell like where they came from and then what they did, and our regular history, the history of Vikings,
Right.
shows how when Vikings conquered, they took captives that were Christian, and they became Christian themselves. And then they spread it as they conquered other people.
That's fascinating.
So just our regular history
Yeah.
and just having your eyes open to it.
When you see, you
Yeah.
have your eyes open to
Yeah.
how God is at work
Yeah.
in history.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. So we're going to elaborate on that in another video, as I said. But I just want to let you know that if you look at the article below this video, we'll have some links there to some sources that you could get, including the Perspectives course. We'll link you to some resources that you can go to find out more about this rich, diverse history of Christianity that maybe you never knew about. Thanks for watching today.